Hi, welcome to Old Guys, Gentlemen Flex Fountain Pens, episode number 62. Today I'm going to be covering a new pen that I got, made very recently at Urushi Studio India, which is owned by GM Custom Pens in India, which is owned by Mr. Vivek Kulkarni, I think. Anyhow, I became interested in Urushi over the last year with some of these pens that I got. This is a Platinum Galaxy. And what's cool about these pens, I don't know how well you can see this, but there's different layers of this Urushi lacquer that allow the artist to put in, some sprinkles. In this particular case, some sprinkles at a lower level, and then there's more layers, and it kind of builds the stuff up and gives the design a sense of depth, so it's just not on the surface. This is another good example, and this one has what's called rodden. It has like abalone shell for these really neat, colorful patterns on it. This is a Tassia pen. This one has gold dust and more of that abalone shell, that rodden. And each of these take a long time to make, and they're also fairly expensive. And this is at the kind of the lower end of these pens. They can go for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or more dollars. And these are definitely not in that league, but they're still pretty expensive for me. Then I came across this Indian company, and they do these at a reasonable rate, I believe. I ended up paying about $460 for it, which I think is a pretty fair price for the work that goes into it. I think it takes them like at least a couple months to go through the process of making one of these pens, so it's a pretty good deal. It came in this nice heavy wood box, which I thought was pretty cool. A nice little note: welcome to GM Custom Pens family, Urushi Studio India, with the signature of Vivek. And then some information about the pen, that it's his name for it is a multi-layer gold leaf with a Jowo number 6 fine point with a gold tone, so it's a steel nib. So let's show you the pen. So you can see this is gold leaf. I don't know how many layers he used. I'm guessing it's on the order of maybe about 4 layers. But they put this lacquer on, this Urushi lacquer, and it comes from trees grown in the Far East, in particular in Japan and China. And it's kind of like super concentrated poison oak or sumac sap, which when cured makes a relatively impervious coating to a pen. But if you have any sensitivity to things like poison ivy or poison oak, this stuff will go to town on your skin. I was thinking of making some of my own, and then I chickened out at the last moment, just because I have some other health conditions, and I'm not sure what that would do to it. But when it's cured properly, as these are, and these, they're perfectly safe and beautiful pens. There's no clip on it, and they do not post, but they're big enough that really don't need to be posted. Lots of threads on it. It's a big pen. It is 6 1/8 inch long capped and uncapped. It's 5 3/4, which is a really nice Nice length for me. Feels very comfortable. It's nice and fat. I like that, but not overly fat. The diameter of the barrel is 5/8 of an inch, and the section itself is 7/16. So it fits in there with a little space to spare, so I don't feel like I'm clutching one finger against the other. The nib that came with it is the one I had described earlier, and it's a steel Jowo number 6. This happens to be fine. And this draws fine, so for 98% of you, this would be a great nib that came with it. They also have I believe they have an 18 karat gold nib that you can buy as well. So anyhow, that's that. But I really like having flexible nibs. So what I did is Paint & Pens had one of these FPNIBS. FPNIBS made in Spain and ground for flexibility. Has a cool keyhole nib, and it's 14K, and it is really nice and flexy. It reminds me a lot of a vintage nib, more so than a lot of the other modern nibs that have been ground for flexibility. Anyhow, I got it from Patent Pens, and it's a number 6, so it just screwed right in here. And it had a plastic feed, which I found plastic feeds for flex nibs don't give you the right flow that you need for that line variation. So I also had from the Flexible Nib Factory a ebonite housing and feed that I fit in with this pen. Now it turns out that FPNIBS in Spain will make this with an ebonite system, but they didn't have any at the time that I bought it, and this sort of works. It's not quite as good as what you might get from Pablo at FPNIBS.com. All right, so let's see a little bit more about. It's called a multi-layer gold leaf by Vivek. Talked about the nib and how I replaced it with a Pablo Ground 14K nib. Oh, then I took a little bit further. The one I bought from Patent Pen was a fine, and I like extra fine or double extra fine, even triple extra fine sometimes. So I ended up grounding it down to about a double extra fine. So you can kind of see here with light strokes, you can get very fine lines with it. It will open up triple broad. Really nice snapback and smooth. After my grinding, there's some feedback, but it's fine for the way I draw, and really responsive. It just snaps right back. And this happens to be Edelstein Jade Pelican ink, and it's fairly wet, and I think that's because of the feed that I have in there. It's got a universal ink converter on it. There's also this thread here is fine enough, and there's enough threads here. I am pretty sure this could be used as an eyedropper. But I don't imagine using this that often, where I would need a big supply of ink, so that little converter will work fine. Let's go back to some writing. really nice line variation. Beautiful pen. I think I got a really good deal. These guys make different styles. You can find them on Facebook, and also I think they have an Instagram account, and they're starting up a web page. It's a very cool pen, and I think I'm lucky to have it. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this review.